So this time on 818 Custom Garage, we're going to show you how to turn what's left over from this guy, parts hanging, into... So welcome back, everybody. I hope you are looking forward to this Mofo super awesome Barbie Jeep build, Jeep Gladiator build, yeah. So let's show you how we're going to go about doing this. So really, if you've seen this before, you've seen, Gage's Power Wagon. This body is coming off here. It's going on to an Eliminator chassis that we have. And, this is a Mofo carbon fiber LCG chassis that we were running Super 8s on and stuff like that too. And it's got the Mofo brass skid, all stock electronics except for the EMAX servo. We did lengthen it by using the little guy racing parts. Oh man, what is it? Not the Ripper. It was one of their other chassis kits. So we used the front links off of that, and then it's got stock. Well, it's got RC all-wheel drive links stock in the back. So enjoy our shocks. Nothing super crazy. We made our cool bumper mount to work with everything. So we're gonna repurpose this whole chassis, but how do we make it even better with that? If anybody's seen these before, those are a set of Mofo. Those are his nylon X15 axles. So they're not the aluminum version, they are the plastic version, which I like, but we're working on a few little modifications on how to make these things probably work. And if you see, one side is different from the other. So what's cool about these axles is they are SCX24 in the middle, in the center, but the outer is all TRX4M. So it has the C-hub, the knuckle, that's all TRX4M. The axle shaft is a 2.5 millimeter, so it's bigger. Well, if you look, we've got brass C-hubs from Endura. We have the Endura brass knuckles, but these are the heavyweight knuckles to where you can see we've added this super low slung weight here. You can actually add, there's another piece to add to the top too, but I think I like keeping the weight down low as possible. So we figured out, hey, we tried it. It worked. So I'm going to show you how to do the other side. We are going to do some hex extenders on it too a little bit. If you can see, these are extended a little bit because depending on the wheel you use, you may run into some interference here. And we did with our awesome Cyclone little guy racing parts white wheels. So Grace wanted a purple Jeep or a pink Jeep with white wheels. Little guy racing parts has the Cyclones in white. They're super cool. We've got them wrapped in 64 millimeter Swamp King, so this thing looks sick. What else we're going to do on these X15s? We're going to change the gearing to what I like to use. We'll use 216 in the rear, 212 in the front. We'll overdrive the front, and then this is all the kit for the rest of the other side. So we'll get that all together. This thing's pretty cool. Comes with a Mofo specific mount for the servo. It is adjustable like all his other ones, so it bolts right on there. And then we've got some hex extenders that we need to modify in order to work on here as well. But we found, we figured it out. So I did one side on each just to make sure I had it kind of figured out beforehand. And then I'll show you how I did it. We're going to get this body off, get these axles modified. We'll show you how to go do that, get everything all put together. We're going to use primarily stock electronics. Probably this EMAX, I broke the side mount on it, so I have a new one for it. And then motor wise, I think we're going to do a motor upgrade, but probably use the stock ESC for now. So, but this may end up getting some other cool Mofo stuff. This is going to be primarily a full Mofo build then, which I think is cool. I've been really wanting to try his axles. They're super beefy. Oh, as I drop it on the ground, they're super beefy in the design. So not totally scale-ish on the SCX24. I feel like this big C-hub and all that stuff, just like when you do like a portal and stuff, it just looks kind of funky on some of these. That's my 2 cents, right? But I just want to try it. I think they're really cool. These could be really good on like a good, performance application too. So you try to go do a nice comp build and all that other stuff. I think it'll look really cool too. So I really want to try them. I love the idea of the larger axle shaft, bigger bearings, pretty stout, axles. So, but you can still use SCX24 gears and all that other stuff too. So it's all readily available parts. I mean, these are just Njora parts. You can get the knuckles and everything from Mofo, but pretty sweet. So stay tuned. Let's get into it. We'll get this body off and start building it. Okay, I wanted to show you where we're at and where we think we're gonna go. So you can see we've got our chassis all kind of pulled apart. All I really did was I took all the servo out and the mount and all that other stuff, because remember the axles use their own mount. So did that, and since it's for Grace, she loved how I did all the gold hardware on our eliminator. We got our eliminator that's got all the gold hardware everywhere too. She loved how I did that on this thing. It came out really cool. So she's like, hey, for this thing, she didn't say it, but I knew she wanted it. I showed it to her last night and she was like, yeah. So we got all the gold hardware everywhere. It looks cool. Now, if you look, we've got the ESC pulled out because, I had these side plates. They're kind of like a slider in a way, but they're not. They're really meant for like electronics or mounting things, and they're really cool. They bolt right on. If you look, see if we can get up close here. You got the 2 center holes that bolt into your skid, and this screw and this screw hold in your arms, right? Well, what he does is that's a big hole. So like you can see, it's recessed down in there. So if you ever need to pull this arm or stuff, you can pull the screw out and get to it without actually having to remove the plates. One other cool thing is you can reverse these plates and move it forward. I have it in the rearward section. It's really not a whole lot more, but it'll move it forward until I get axles and everything mounted and tires. I want to see what kind of clearance I have. And if I can, I'll probably flip them and move them forward, just to move as much weight forward as possible. So we were thinking we're going to use all the electronics out of this thing, but man, this thing's going to be actually pretty nice, I think. So I want to make it a little bit better. And in the Mofo theme, so the idea is we're going to get I've got an ESC. I think we're going to stay brushed motor, maybe. Might go brushless. We'll see. But I've got an ESC. I figure we can do ESC, receiver, and then battery up front. We'll remove this whole tray, get rid of all that stuff. If I need to, so my plan is right now, don't know if we're going to use these shocks or something else, but the shocks, I'll put another one of these braces in, and it'll screw right into the brace, and it's like a whole shock tower, brace assembly. So you can do that. But we'll remove this. That should make this nice and sturdy still. Thinking about the battery mount. So this is the stock mount. They make, like Bauhaus makes one. Grizzly Works makes a really nice one, but it won't work with this chassis. I mean, you could grind it all down. I actually have one, it's cool, but that one's really meant for using like a stock style chassis, because his new design has all these spots for shock mounts. Pretty cool. It's actually a really nice piece. But what I think I'm going to do is I think I can modify this stock one. So really all it is they just take all this and they just angle it down, right? So I think I can, I'm going to pop it out. I think I can heat it up along here and bend it and then remount it. We'll probably need to drill like a hole here and then run a aluminum spacer with a screw and little nut with some Loctite. And I think that's my plan. So I'm going to go do that next. So that's the plan next for this thing. So let's look at these axles. We've also got to get these axles going too, right? So showed you kind of the rear, what we had to do to make those hexes work. Now, that's with the little guy or an Njora or probably many others. Now, Mofo has his own hexes. So one thing I was looking at last night was, okay, this is the hex that it comes with. I don't know if you can see how, but like when you get it to about right here, now the depth of that slot is in about the same position. So that makes sense, having to remove that that section, right? So, you know, it doesn't bother me too much. So if his, you know, +1 or the 4mm are the same dimensions as this for the slot, then that would be a bolt-on deal, and I think everything would be great. So I didn't have those, so we did something else. So you know, sometimes when you're doing custom stuff, you got to modify it, right? That's part of the deal. So let's also talk about the front axle. So we showed you, you know, the Endura comes with the C-hub that bolts right on, like no problems. The knuckle and everything goes on great. That's all normal. Now, where we said we had issues was when we were mounting this on and the wheel contacting, you know, there too. So one other thing that I noticed was that's why we went with the, you know, we went with the modified 4mm spacer. So when you do that, it brings it in closer, you know, up to the bearing and stuff. There's this piece, that tiny little register piece that's here. You also need to grind that as well. So what I do is I take my Dremel. I actually use a Dremel on this one because it's smaller, and I've got a little round sanding bit, and I actually take that whole section down all the way down to this lip. So you can see that. I'll show it to you after I do it. You know, it's super thin. It's barely any material. I don't really know the point of it. I mean, I guess they're just trying to keep everything they can to add weight, but I'm like, that's going to be negligible to me. So, and really it rests over all of this, and you're bolted on here. So I just don't, it actually rests over like this bearing piece. It's weird. So I just didn't, I mean, it's neat that they machined it like that, but I just don't see the use of it. So we'll remove that. I'll show you what it looks like after it's removed, and then we'll put this all together too. So 2 things. We're gonna grind this down so that everything goes together smooth on this side. And then I'm gonna go see if we can bend this plate. If not, if I screw it up, then I'll probably have to buy like the Bauhaus one, which works. I just feel like I can make it work. So, and then we'll start slamming things together and get it figured out, and we'll be on the road. Stay tuned. Oh man, so we are making a mess out here. Not really, I mean, this is what happens when you got multiple projects going on. But let me show you what we got here. So, wanted to show you, that is the, that might be better. That is the lower weight that we're gonna bolt on to that knuckle. And you can see the brass right there is what I removed, right? So that piece. So here's another one. You can see, so that little black piece that's sticking up there, it is like paper thin. I mean, there's nothing to it. So I just removed that whole thing. That way when this sits down in there, it doesn't contact that, because it was rubbing just ever so slightly on the other side. So like, I'm just gonna remove that. That is negligible. This thing is bolted on to the knuckle with some Loctite. We're good to go. I don't really understand that. Like I said, I think they're just leaving it on there to try to get as much weight as possible. So, super cool. Just use my Dremel. Here, I'll show you. Oh. Pulled out the Dremel. I just use this sand bit. A lot of times, you know, I have like the paper sanding bits too. I just didn't have one as narrow. Mine were a little bit too big. It's all beat up and stuff, but it worked perfect, and it's like the perfect diameter to get down in there. So came in the Dremel kit. You know, I just have I use this thing a lot on some. I used to use it a lot gunsmithing and stuff like that too. But I digress. So wanted to also show you. So we got that prepped and ready. So we'll get that all bolted up. We got the low CG battery mount done. And really, I took my little torch, just ever so slightly took some heat there, like right along here and along the backside, and then just bent it by hand real quick, and then popped it back in here to kind of make sure it fit the contour, you know, and you just work it a little bit, no big deal. Now the bottom, if you can see the bottom of this section, I did trim off. So it was coming down and like hitting the drive shaft. And that's going to depend on which drive shaft you have too. I like my drive shafts to be able to be free to like rotate all the way up. You know what I mean? So you may not have to take off as much. You may have to take off a little bit more or do a little notch or something like that. But, you know, I think it all fits good. So I did where, get all these things out of the way, where the mounting tabs, come on, sorry about that. Where the mounting tabs come down, they normally go into that hole right there. So I trim them off, right? So it's nice and flush, so it's not sticking down. But I had to drill a second hole just right next to it to meet up with this, and just drill nice and slow, whether you use an aluminum chassis or carbon fiber. You know, it's really easy. Just get a bit the same size as that hole and just drill through. And I kind of eyeballed it and drilled through the plastic, and I did that on both sides, right? And then just make sure you got this in the position that you want it. I wanted it flat with the contour of the chassis. And then I just use a spacer. This is an 8, man, drive me crazy. This is an 8mm long screw. That is a little bit wider spacer from like the Endura shock spacer kits. And then just a 1.4 nut. So you can get these Endura, if you type in Endura shock spacer kit or SCX shock spacer kit or something like that, it pops up on Amazon, and they're good. They're a good kit to have. I've got a bunch of assortment of all those spacers, and it says like washer kit because they have some really thin ones. They have different diameter holes. This and this are the pretty common sizes to use, and these are a really wider one that I've used a lot on some custom builds too. So good to have. That way you can set up shocks, you can set up, you know, spacing on stuff. It's a perfect spacer for this. So, man, I'm really stoked. That came out really clean. I'm just going to run some dual lock right there, stick the battery on there. So next up, we are going to get the rest of this axle together, and we'll get it slammed in, mounted up to the links, and get the shocks mounted up on it. See kind of where we sit, and make some decisions on how we want everything kind of configured, you know, shock wise and droop and compression and stuff in the system. So we are going to go with a Little Guy Racing Parts. This is their heavy duty transmission. This is not the MR24, but it does have, you know, all the steel gears, and I like these a lot. And then I have one of their brushless motor mounts. And you do have to modify the slots for the mount holes because they're set up for the creeper motor, which uses like a 1.6 or something like that mounting hole, you know, screw. And a lot of the brushless motors out there now all use a 2 mil. So I just open those slots up just a tiny bit. You can do it. It takes 2 seconds. I like their, you know, it's a pretty solid motor mount. So and it's super inexpensive. So I just set it up for there on there. So we're ready to go on here. Once we figure out what motor and stuff we're doing. I don't know, we may end up leaving the stock motor in there at first and then going from there, but I don't know. Game time decision, right? Game time decision. So we're gonna get it all configured up so that we can figure out shocks here. Man, my phone just did a nice little wackadoodle. I don't know. But yeah, so once we get the shocks in the right position, rear wise, we'll pull this out and then we'll mount them to one of these strut braces and make sure that we got everything in the right position. So same with the front, we'll figure things out. I don't know if we're gonna keep any of this front bumper stuff or whatnot, so that may all go too. So just keeping it on there for now because it's all, like I Loctited the nuts and stuff together when I built all that stuff. So, but super happy with our custom little low CG battery mount. I mean, it was free. Can't beat that. And it'll work. So, and these side mounts are so cheap. And I mean, and they fit perfect. So I'm really, this is going to be a really good performer, I think. Should have good weight, should nice and long. So let's go get this axle together. We'll get them slammed in. I'll get it mounted up and everything on here so you can see it all, and then we'll go from there. Bang! Check it out. So we got these awesome axles in all together. Looks good. We got this thing slammed in the back. These are a set of Endura 43s. Probably not going to stay with these, but I use these a lot for mock-up because they actually work fine. I've used them on other projects before. So I don't know, may stay with these. May go with a little guy racing parts one. Their 48s are the same as these because they're technically 43 to eye, and they're 48 from end to end when they're extended. So so we got all the arms on. Well, we got all the axles on, built this other axle up. I think it came out pretty good. If I can get that off of there. Everything looks good on here. Moves nice and freely. I think we're doing pretty good. One thing I noticed, and the reason I just have the servo sitting here because it helps you see it a little bit better. So when you go compress this thing has a crazy ton of caster. Look at the angle that servo is at. I mean, that is gnarly. I don't mind caster. I like it. That is too much though, because you got to remember, the axle already has built-in caster into it, right? So this is like, that's a lot. So the reason, it had the extra caster with the old setup too. The old setup used the Super 8s, and I think, when we were talking about the difference between like the Super 8s and these X15s, the X15s are not as wide. They're still pretty wide. The thing is, they put all the shock mounts and all the link mounts in the stock position. The Super 8s, they're wider. Like this arm mount would be over here, shock mount over here a little bit, right? So in essence, when you take this arm and move it this way, it's shortening up. It'll in essence move the axle back. All right. Well, when you do that, what it does, you're moving it back, so it's also rotating, and you won't have as much caster, right? So in order to solve this issue, I either need to go with a shorter lower arm or a much longer upper arm. The upper arm would rotate it forward, right? My only concern is that now that this is pushed forward at the bottom, right, it's also pushing the center line, the wheel center line a little bit farther forward, increasing the wheelbase. And I don't think I want to go too much farther forward. So I have looked at this already and kind of mapped things out, just off camera, and tested a few things. So take this out of here. One thing you should always do, I always keep my stock links off of everything. So like I pull everything off, like this is off a C10. So C10, this is a C10 front lower is 50 millimeters. So this is a 50 millimeter link. So I put it up, these links here from Little Guy for the Ultra 24, these are 45 millimeter top, 60 lower. So I put a 50 in there. It moved it too far forward, a little too far forward that I really liked. It was pretty close though. I still felt like I think we need to do something else. So this, wrong one. This high clearance arm, this is a C10 lower rear, and it is 58.5 millimeter in length. So it's a little bit shorter than this one. So it's 58.5. So what I did was I stuck that in there, right? Left this upper arm, still didn't like the caster, and I was like, you know what? I need something I can adjust. So this is a C10 upper rear that is 51 millimeters normally, But see, it's got the screwed on end links. So what I did was I unscrewed the end links either side. I cut about 1.5 millimeters off of each. So it took about 3 mil out of it. So we're at about 48-ish millimeter. So I'm gonna throw these on there. So we're now at about like 48 and a 58.5. So let me throw these on there and show you the change that we were able to make. So remember, link position, mounting position changes geometry a lot, you know, so got to remember that. So let's go change, you know, just a couple millimeter here and there, and you'll see, I mean, look at the mount. See the mount, how angled back it is? So just remember that. Let me get these other links on and show you what it looks like. And we're back. So I put the other links on. I'm not going to show that stuff. It just takes forever to do. So you can see, nice compressed everything. Look at the, I got the, still a little bit of caster gain up there at the top. Nothing super crazy. This is exactly where I want it, you know? So, and that's just by changing link lengths. That's why if you've got projects that you've done, you pulled links off, whatever, keep them all, you know? Those Ultra 24 links, I'm going to keep those maybe for another project. Really happy with how this came out. I wish all the links matched. They don't. But I could probably get a set of Injora rear. These are just stock Gladiator length. So either that, or I might get my buddy RC Steve 710 to make me some nice custom links. They'd be stock link in the Gladiator, and then I'll have them match these up. So then we can get some, maybe we can get some cool like rainbow titanium or something, or blue titanium stuff. Or gold. He does ones where they're blue and gold. The blue and gold might be cool to match this. Good. Now I just think about spending more money. Although his stuff's reasonably priced and he makes really good quality links. So we now have link geometry set up. We are good here. So next up, I think we are going to start getting some power in here. Now, remember I told you these side plates, you can swap them and move them forward. We've got plenty of room here. So I'm going to flip them from side to side. This one's going to go on the other side. And what it'll do is it'll move it forward. So I'd rather get everything as far forward as possible to give us as much weight bias forward. So, I mean, we've got a bunch of weight on the front already with how this front axle is set up. But, I mean, you start, I don't even know if I could, there you go. So if we can start moving more and more, a little more weight up here, I think that'd be even better. So, because once we get the body on, wheels and tires, stuff like that, you know, we'll start adding a little bit more weight to the back. I mean, really it's just the body and the mount and the back. And we are using the Lexan body, so that's good. We're going to have the battery up front, but really I want to try to get these electronics as far forward as possible. And you got to remember, we're going to throw a transmission, rearward facing motor. So thinking of using the stock transmission. I have this 66 turn brushed motor set up, but I want to slam this thing, and I don't think this is going to fit well with the motor in there. Let's see. Almost had it. There we go. So when the motor seats down in there, see it's starting, that upper arm is hitting the motor. It might work with the stock 88 turn, but man, these things are so weak. So be cool. So I had this thing slammed pretty far. I think if I went back to this hole where I had it originally, that motor would probably work fine in here, and we wouldn't have any issues. So I may end up doing that for now, because the idea, I think we're going to go brushed or brushless motor for this thing anyways. So just trying to decide what to go do. I just had this motor brand new, never used. I bolted it up to the stock transmission. It's funny, I have this little guy billet cover, so I pop that on there. Makes it look nice. Makes it look nice. So I don't know. Let me think about it. But we're gonna move these side plates, and when we come back, we'll have our motor all installed and part of the electronics, I think. We'll get moving forward. Although, and I may get I'll probably put the wheels and tires on so we can kind of see what that's starting to look like too. Oh man, stoked about this. Bang! Check it out. Sorry, I went along fast. So I've been talking way too much. We know what we're gonna do. Look at this thing. It is done. I mean, this chassis is awesome. Came out really good. You can see the white wheels. We did change the claw hammers because these things are really nice. Did our limit strap setup just like we did before. It's a pretty similar setup to what it was. I mean, look, Emax servo for now. I'm gonna let you know we're probably gonna do a RS100. We do love those servos because they make the special edition one, the breast cancer awareness one, that's in pink. So we're probably going to do a pink servo once they get them back in stock. We went to the little guy shocks, same length. And you can see we've got that quick run Hobbywing Mini 24 ESC. And look at that. To top off all the Mofo pieces, we got the Mofo. This is the Nano Bam V2. I would say it's pretty equivalent to a Micro Komodo in size. I think it's only 3,200 kV, so I think it's a little less kV. Should make a little more torque. Trimmed down all the wires and got everything kind of cleaned up. I think it came out super, super nice. It's ready. I mean, look how slammed it is underneath. I think this thing's going to do good. So, really happy with it. Now, what do we need? It needs a body. And then we're going to go trash it, right? I've been talking too much. Let's show you the body. Dun, dun, dun. Man, that was stupid, but funny, I think. There's the body. There's the pink. So, we just bought a clear Gladiator body. I bought a new hinge for it and stuff. And all I did was I painted it. It's the Tamiya, I forget which color, paint code it is, but it's just like a baby pink. Backed it in white. Put all the stickers on, because it comes with all the stickers. Got all the stickers on. Did our light bar, 60 mil light bar on top. Similar to, it's basically the same setup that I did on our on Booger, the green Gladiator on the Eliminator chassis. Also made the rear plate, trimmed the whole bottom of the bumper section off. I flipped the mount and everything, and make the plate so you can mount it up higher, get a lot more clearance in the back. I think we are ready. The only thing I got to do, and I didn't think about it, is normally the grill, all these sections are black on the insert. So I think I'm going to get a paint pen, a black paint pen, and paint those in. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I might do that later. I think we're going to go have some fun. Let's go see. You know what we should do? We're going to put this thing on the scales. Let's see what it does on the scales first, and then we're going to go have some fun. Scales. Oh, we should do scales and the setup table. Look at both those, because I'm going to tell you right now, it seems pretty good. Like, yeah, I'm holding it with my one finger up there. That feels pretty good. Has a little bit more weight in the back than it did before, because you got electronics and transmission now, right? And the rear facing motor, but that motor is so little and so light. So, but I think we're pretty good on the front weight. I think we did good. And it's not I don't think this thing's gonna be super overweight. So slam on the body, weigh it, setup table it, and then we got to go see how this thing actually works in the real world, and let Grace go have her Barbie Gladiator that I think she's gonna call it Pinkie Pie. I love it. Let's go check Pinkie Pie out. All right, we've got Pinkie Pie on the scales. I scratched her, so I gotta fix that. let's see what it says. Let's see what we got. So if you look, we are 50-50 side to side, and we are 62-38. So that's pretty good. I feel pretty good about that for what it is. I mean, it's pretty much set up off a stock design, you know, and it's nothing crazy. The big concern is like when you look at the cross weight, 5644, you can see left front 126, right front 154, right? So there's a lot more weight on this side, right? Especially towards the front. And if you look down in there, the motor and transmission are on, more of the weight is on this side, on the right, right? So it's pushing that weight. So ways to combat that, you can offset the battery, you know, you shift it to the side. I don't think it's really going to do much because it's pretty small, you know, it's a stock battery. The best way would be to flip it and get the motor forward. But with our configuration in the back, you know, wanting to use a real battery, we're probably not, that's probably not in the cards for this set, for this particular build. Because we're looking for something fun, but not, it's not going to be a crazy line killer. But this thing, I think, will actually do pretty good. I mean, it's about 450 grams, which is not super heavy. I mean, and we got good balance, 62-38. I mean, this thing should be pretty fun. You know, not overweight. So I think on the weight scales, we're doing pretty good. So also shout out to Shadow Hobbies. If you want some awesome Onyx speedrun batteries, that's the place to go. So, all right, so we're gonna throw it on the setup table real quick to see what it does, and then, man, we got to get Grace to go take this thing out and test it out and see how it does. Okay, so we got this thing on the setup table. Let's see what we can do here. Side hill wise. Starting to slide a little bit. What was that, just past 50, like 52-ish? Not too bad, not too bad for what it is. Man, this thing is long. So let's see what we can do in a vertical climb. Starting to slide. Huh. So it's starting to slide. Let's see if we can. This is, man, I keep saying I got to get grip tape. And I think I need to. I think I need to get some grip tape on here. Come on, baby. So it started sliding, but then it still kind of doesn't flip over. So let's, I still think I need to go get grip tape. But I think this thing, you know, it's got all that front bias, which is good. You know, maybe I need to, I was almost thinking, you know, let's look at the side hill again. Do we need to maybe do some straps in the back? Is that what's pulling it over? Front end starting to slide. There it goes. So at like 52, it starts to go. So, that's not shabby. You know, that's okay. It's okay, side hill. I feel like, that's where, like, when people really weight cars down, you know, they can do crazy side hills sometimes, or it just, man, it's getting that weight down low. You know, forward skid design, everything super low weight. That's the way to go. But for what this thing is, I think it's going to probably, And this thing doesn't always tell exactly how everything's going to perform in the real world, but it does pretty good. You know, it's nice to help you set things up. So let's take it out. It's time for Grace to go have some fun with Pinkie Pie. So we got Grace here with Pinkie Pie.
Hey, girlies.
Man, we got that Mofo set up on here with those little guy racing Cyclones, the white ones. This thing's all mofoed out. X15 axles. Let's see how this thing does, Grace. Grace has never rock crawled before. So she's gonna test this out for the first time.
I'm gonna smush that ant.
You're gonna fall over is what you're gonna do. I would try to go up the hill. Like, yeah. So turn right. I think it can do that if you go slow. Keep turning. Okay, now turn. You just smush that ant. Oh, Pinkie Pie, landing on all fours. I think this thing's going to be a pretty good performer because it's got a really good weight bias, honestly.
Whoa.
You got it. Keep going. Slow. Easy. Easy peasy. Grace is coming up. You can see what you're good. You're good. Oh. You're going to fall over this way. Yes. Go. You're good. Turn left. Yeah. Keep going left. Now turn right. There you go.
Yes, girl.
Oh, we got her. We got her, Grace. I caught her. Oh yeah, that's kind of a cool line. I like it. Oh yeah, easy. Easy peasy. Turn right. There you go. You got it. Excellent, Grace. Yeah, we gotta be careful going through here. You okay?
Yeah.
We got the boys over there trying to run down hills. Through here, up here, you want the truck to come up and like right through here. You want like the left tire to hit here and then go up and over, okay? Oh, what just happened to my gimbal? Did it just die? Oh, it had full power. No. Oh, gimbal go die. Okay, Grace. Sorry, our gimbal died. That was the easy side. Now you gotta go back up.
What?
I want you to move towards the left a little bit more. Okay, let's go. Oh, dude, that thing works so good. So, like, that was so much easier compared to all the other trucks. So much easier. Weight bias. Okay, Grace, let's bring it over here. All right, let's see if we can get this line with Pinkie Pie. This thing works pretty good so far. It's pretty confident. Oh, this thing, man.
Too easy.
This thing, it's a little bit longer. So
Wait.
It's a similar wheelbase to the Eliminator type of stuff because it's a Gladiator, technically rear Gladiator, but a little bit, it's C10 rear front. So it's a long wheelbase, but the skid's more forward, the weight's more forward. These X15s work. They got a lot of weight up front. Dude, I told you, Grace, this thing's gonna work. Like, we were struggling with the other trucks on this stuff.
Yeah.
And this thing does it with ease.
Pinkie Power just too good.
What was that?
Pinkie Power.
Pinkie Power? What do you think, Dash? That was pretty wicked, huh?
Pinkie Pie.
Pinkie Pie is really good.
Wait, who's in the top?
I think this was number one today. I'll be honest.
No.
I think this was number one. Number two was your comp chassis, easily. Number three, I think, were Booger and
No, Booger.
Crush.
Crush them, Booger.
Maybe. They were pretty normal. And then Man.
And then the one with no body, then the one.
Yeah, I think the shock setups on those just don't work right for me, for our type of driving and what we like to do. So, wow. So, Grace, what do you think?
Awesome.
Very awesome. Hey, look, this thing is pink. It is cool. It is Pinkie Pie. It might have to be called Pinkie Power. Look, all I'm going to say, look, we are looking, if anybody knows, we are looking for a RS100 in pink. If we want the RS100 servo in pink, they're not making them until October, but if anybody has one, hit me up, send me a note. We will buy it because we want it for this guy. We want it for Pinkie Pie. That would be the last thing for this.
Wait, what if?
For this girl, yeah, for this girl.
What if they make a brown and black one?
That sounds like a poopy one.
It's like a one that matches my truck.
I know.
Like zigzag.
Hey, look, so comment, like, subscribe.
See you later.
See you later. What do you think, Dash? See you later, or don't forget the 10% discount code at Little Guy Racing Parts, right?
Yeah, and
Because they're right down the way. They're like right over there.
all the way on the other side
They're
of
like,
the world.
no, they're like a couple exits from here. And you know, we just appreciate all the support. We'll take any comments, feedback. We love interacting with everybody. Tell us what you think about Pinkie Pie, and we'll catch you on the next one.